Hello and welcome to Call of the North. This is the online qualifier for Toronto's Northern Arena CSGO Championship happening at Fan Expo Canada, September 1st to 4th. So make sure you get your tickets for that. I'm your host, Marissa Roberto, and it's not just me you get to hang out with today and tomorrow. Oh no, we've got our stellar casters standing by, Van Silly and Launders, and later today we've got Seaside and Athena joining us. But before we get to any of that, we gotta meet the teams. So let's look at the brackets here. We just saw the first round go down, so I just wanna get to know the teams a little bit more. Let's see them go up. Perfect. So Ace Gaming just won their first bracket 2-0 against Non-Pede and are one of the favorites of the tournament alongside Synthetic, with both rosters having experienced players from Montreal and are known in the local scene. Non-Pede just lost 16-7 and 16-1 against Ace Gaming in their first bracket. These ladies formerly competed in Counter-Strike Source and are making their CSGO debut right here at Call of the North. Earthroot Gaming, the average age of this team is 16, so I think it's fair to call these ones the young guns. They just played the ladies of Selfless Gaming and went into OT, where the ladies were victorious. A very exciting matchup indeed. The Selfless ladies are CLG Red's main rivals, so I'm kind of hoping to see these two face off in the end. Still possible. Fingers crossed. Speaking of CLG Red, they competed in last year's Northern Arena unsuccessfully, so these ladies are looking to come back in a big way, but they just lost to Insomnia Esports 2-0. They're still impressive though, as two of their team members are 5- and 6-time world champions. Insomnia Esports are staying in the winners brackets. They are riding high as they just made ESEA's Open playoffs, finishing their regular season 15-1. Xfire got knocked down in the lower bracket by Synthetic, which, to be honest, was expected considering they're relatively unknown to the CS scene, but their player Mad Max is a former world champ in Halo 3. So I'm serious, like talking top 5 in the world. So maybe he can bring some of that Chief fire and light the rest of his very young team to win. You can follow the brackets on CVO Tournament and our website, northernarena.ca, and be sure to use the hashtag Call of the North. If you have any questions for our casters, or you just want to comment on the matches, you can do that. Just send it in. We might read your tweet on the air. But for now, let's go to the boys in the booth. Take it away.
Marissa, thank you so much. Welcome everybody to the Northern Arena stream, twitch.tv/Northern Arena. Tell your friends, tell your family. Van Silly here, along with Launders, getting ready to rewrite history for CSGO at the first online qualifier, Call of the North. And you know what? We looked at the brackets, we saw a few of the matches so far. Nothing really surprising, but when we're looking at these 8 teams competing throughout this whole weekend, Launders, I'm pretty sure we have some favorites here.
Yeah, almost certainly. I mean, I think we fully expect Aces to be in the final. Like, they've only got Selfless now, who just dropped the map to Earthroot, who we didn't expect that game to even go to 3 maps, right? We thought it was going to be a quick 2-0. Ended up going to OT, Earthroot taking Mirage after a pretty good start and then blowing about 10 rounds and then giving up the last couple. So now we've got Ace Gaming, who are going to be basically their final test. I mean, I can't see them winning this. That would be a huge upset in itself. But for them to even have a decent performance, like get 10 or 11 rounds, honestly would say a lot to me.
No, for sure. I mean, if we're going to look at this in general, the format of the tournament that we have here, what's on the line? Basically, we have 8 teams playing throughout this whole weekend. Top 2 basically gets the berth and a spot to the Fan Expo CSGO for Northern Arena, the championships. That's going to be happening September 4th to the September 1st to the September 4th, sorry. But speaking of that, it's going to be the top 2. Best out of 3 for the upper brackets and best out of 1 for a single elimination, pretty much. So it's going to be tough. I mean, most of the female teams that we've seen so far, we're going to be talking about Non-Pede. They lost 2-0 versus Ace Gaming. Then we have CLG Red that lost 2-0 versus Insomnia. They still have a chance to survive, but it's good to see at least a female team moving on here, winning that best out of 3. Yes, it's against Earthroot. It's against an inexperienced team, but it's good to see female team continuing into the upper brackets, into this best out of 3 winners bracket.
Definitely.
So looking at this matchup, the one that we're going to cover today is going to be Ace Gaming versus Selfless Gaming. So Selfless Gaming used to be known as Karma GG. They've always been one of the biggest rivals of CLG Red over in the female scene. I think they even beat them once, I think, towards the ESWC, or was it in Copenhagen, I think in Europe.
I think in terms of competition, CLG Red have usually had a better time making it deeper into tournaments, but then have had a particularly difficult time beating Karma at home. So like Karma would do worse versus the international competition, but if it got to a matchup where they're playing against CLG, they would end up taking it. And yeah, I think it was either DreamHack or ESWC where it was actually Karma to take it at the time. So
Yeah. So big one for them. So they're looking to bring it back against Ace Gaming. Like Marissa said, maybe they'll see each other in the lower brackets. We'll cross our fingers for that and see who's going to come out victorious. Let's look a little bit about the previews of these two teams. First one, looking at Ace Gaming. So Ace Gaming, one of the favorites coming into this tournament, composed of people that we know already, such as Vez, such as Effie, and such as Reza. Now we're looking at Vez and Effie. They've had some experience in the past in 1.6, have been in around the scene for at least 10 years or so. And you also have experience from Effie that played with Vault, actually. They actually tried to play the placement matches for CEVO. I think it was main going to professional.
They played a whole season of Premier.
Yeah.
Yeah, Effie's played with them. They made it to the LAN. They ended up getting, I think, they ended up going out in the first round of the LAN, but there was no shame in that because they played the Immortals lineup, right? So that was kind of a stacked pool, and they had a bad seed going into the LAN, so it was kind of expected.
Yeah.
But Effie says real experience in CS:GO, right?
Yeah.
Solid season in P. And this lineup has just tons of talent overall. Right now, they're my competition in main. Both our teams are tied 13-3 right now.
Yeah.
I didn't actually get to play against them because I wasn't playing in the beginning of the season, but Subroza was kind of a legend in main this season because he ended up getting about 170 ADR about halfway through the season, like 7 maps in, which is unheard of. And for those of you who are just watching CS for one of the few times, 100 ADR is considered exceptional. You could think about it kind of like school grades, where if you have 95 or higher, you got basically an A+. And Subroza had 170 halfway through the season, closed out with 100. So unreal, stellar performance from him. He's going to be the player to watch for me for this whole tournament.
Yeah, I think from what I've been hearing through the bleachers is pretty much Ace Gaming was built around Subroza. So excited to see how that's going to happen. I haven't seen him myself, but let's talk a little bit about you because you said I played against him before. I thought you took a break. So you used to be some sort of trying to get pro. I mean, you were streaming a lot on Twitch. You joined SOAR, and then you kind of took a break for casting. What made you come back and start playing the playoffs here?
Well, I kind of had it easy this season, so I didn't have to play the entire season, right? I had a great relationship with my teammates last season. Everything ended pretty well. We ended up going out in the first round of playoffs, or the second round of playoffs, which kind of sucked, but we had like 14-2 end of the season, second round playoffs, second CEVO main. And then this season, the team played without me because I had too many casting commitments, right? Great opportunity to be a caster, and so couldn't turn that down. But they, without me, ended up getting a really reasonable record, right? Went like 12-2 and just closed out the season. Now, our team and Subroza's team, Ace Gaming, are both the first and second seed. So kind of who you would expect to win. Though last season, it wasn't really the case where the top 5 seeds went out in the first or second round of playoffs, didn't make P. So that's a huge reason they're not in P right now.
I see. Okay. And now let's look a little bit about the other teams. So we will be covering Ace Gaming versus Selfless GG, the female side, of course. And when we're looking at that roster, so you have Emily, you have Rain, but who's currently not playing right now because I think she has some work commitment. But she's being replaced by ML for these first few matches. Then you have Goose Breeder, Artstar, and Ray, who actually is the new addition to the roster as well. I think they've been shuffling a bit in terms of a team trying to find a consistent fifth. I think Miha played with them for a bit, and that's when they actually had that stint versus CLG Red, if I'm not mistaken. But now, how do you think this female team will fare against Ace Gaming?
To be honest, I think both female teams like CLG Red and Selfless, the two most knowledgeable female teams, I think they punch below their weight in terms of how well they're expected to do, right? I think that they have like really good players. I mean, Miss Harvey has played a season at Invite at the beginning of CS:GO on a male team as well. Like they've been playing just flat out playing the game for over 10 years, right, at a reasonably high level. And I think in terms of their results, it doesn't really show how good they could be. In my opinion, that like CLG Red's record in main is kind of awful. And I'd expect them to be, in playoff contention or something close to that. And it's hard to say why that is, right? I mean, part of it could be that you don't really have that many people to pick from, right? If you're going to have an all-female roster, you got to pick from the available females, and there aren't that many. So I guess maybe for how many there are, they're doing pretty good. But I think they all have more potential than they've shown.
Yeah, it seems as though like the European teams have a lot more to pick from when you're looking at it, of course, due to geography, ping issues that are a little bit easier for the European teams to like get together and play. Plus, there's more events usually happening out there. But we'll see how it goes for Selfless Gaming. But as we do have time, I guess we could look about the other teams that we're going to be broadcasting throughout this whole weekend. So Earthroot Gaming, we mentioned it a little bit, fairly new team, doesn't really have any experience at all. I think playing Open maybe in ESEA, but not really getting more out of that. And we've talked about it. Are they really up-and-coming teams? Not really at this point. It's going to be more experience. I don't know if you have anything else to add on that, Launders.
Yeah, Earthroot, with the average age of 16, as Marissa pointed out, has it's like 3 players that are 14 years old or something, and then they have a gamer dad who's 29 years old.
Yeah.
And it's a jab, but it's totally a joke because you have people like Taz, right, who is I think 30 years old now and just won Star Ladder, just knocked NIP out of semifinal potential at E-League.
For E-League, yeah.
And so, he's kind of leading the way for all of us a little bit.
I mean, that's the running joke that we have as casters or as analysts is when you're actually talking about Taz, it's like, how far before you could actually retire from Counter-Strike or from gaming in general? So then you're looking at, okay, let's just see how far Taz could go. Is he going to play till 32, till 33, 34? And that could basically be maybe the limit, right? So we'll see.
Seriously.
I'm 32, but that's why I'm casting.
Yeah, and who knows, right? I mean, he is kind of just paving the way, and nobody really knows, right? It's like everybody who started playing esports, right? I mean, he's the oldest of the bunch, so if he can continue to compete at that level, then that means that who knows, first of all, how much longer he can play, right? How long his experience will make up for maybe his reaction time slowing down, or when his reaction time is going to slow down. Because I feel like if it was really lacking already, that it would show. And but nobody really criticizes Taz all that much. I mean, people still regard him as like the best player in certain spots. The fact that his team is doing well overall, the fact that he can still contribute as an IGL, it speaks volumes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just in general, when you're looking at Virtus Pro as an organization, people are like, oh, well, they're actually not that good. They're losing so many events, then they're coming back. It's up and down. So it's not necessarily unpredictable, but I think they're just trying to readjust as teams are beating them. Once you're at the top, you could only go down from there, right? So you try to come back and bring it back. I mean, there are a lot of more teams that we could talk about here, but I think from what I've heard is we're going to take a short break waiting for Selfless and for Ace Gaming to set up, get into the server, and then Mohan and myself could give you guys the action here for the Call of the North presented by Bell.